September 18th, 1873. At exactly 11 o'clock in the morning, the most powerful banker in America shuts his doors. Jay Cooke, the man who financed the Civil War, the man trusted by an entire nation, is bankrupt. Outside his office, the streets collapse into chaos. Brokers stumble over each other. Men stare in silence. Others weep openly, because in a single moment, their world is gone. This wasn't just a bank failure. This was the day the American dream broke. So what could possibly destroy the most powerful financial empire in the country? Overnight, the answer is something far more dangerous than a bank run. It was a collision, three unstoppable forces closing in at the same time. After the Civil War, America becomes obsessed with one thing: speed. Railroads stretch across the continent like arteries of steel. Over 35,000 miles of track laid in just 7 years. This isn't just infrastructure, it's a gold rush. Investors pour money into railroad bonds, betting on cities that don't exist, tracks that haven't been built, profits that may never come. Railroads become the Silicon Valley of the 1870s. Everyone wants in: banks, politicians, foreign investors. Even the government hands out millions of acres of land to fuel the expansion. But beneath the surface, something is already breaking, because these railroads aren't making money yet. They're burning it. And the entire system depends on one fragile assumption: that money will always keep flowing. Then comes the first crack: a scandal. Credit at Mobilier, a scheme exposing bribery, corruption, and inflated contracts at the highest levels. Trust begins to erode, and at the center of it all stands one man: Jay Cooke. Cooke takes on the most ambitious project in American history: the Northern Pacific Railroad, a line stretching into the untouched wilderness of the West. To sell it, he launches a massive campaign. He calls it the Banana Belt, a land of opportunity, mild climate, endless promise. But the truth? Frozen plains, hostile terrain, and violent resistance from Sioux tribes defending their land. Surveyors need military escorts. Stories of attacks spread across newspapers. Investors grow nervous. And behind the scenes, Cooke is doing something fatal. He's using short-term money, deposits, to fund a long-term dream, a ticking time bomb. Because if the cash flow stops, everything collapses. While Cooke is selling dreams, Washington makes a silent move. In 1873, Congress passes a law that changes everything: the Coinage Act. It removes silver from the monetary system, quietly, no headlines, no public debate. But the effect is devastating. For decades, America ran on gold and silver. Now, only gold. At the exact moment massive silver discoveries flood the market, silver becomes worthless. Money becomes scarce. Interest rates rise. Debt becomes heavier. And the entire economy begins to suffocate. Farmers, workers, businesses, all squeezed. The system is losing its oxygen, and no one realizes how dangerous it's about to become. Then, the final blow comes from across the ocean. Europe. After the Franco-Prussian War, France is forced to pay an enormous debt to Germany. To do it, they sell everything, including American investments. At the same time, Germany shifts to gold, dumping silver into global markets. Silver prices collapse even further. And then, May 1873, the Vienna Stock Exchange crashes. Panic spreads across Europe. Investors scramble for cash. And suddenly, the money America depends on disappears. Gone. The lifeline is cut. Jay Cooke is left waiting for capital that will never arrive. September 15th, Cooke meets with the president, desperate, looking for support, and he gets silence. 3 days later, his bank collapses, and with it, confidence in the entire system. Banks begin to fail. Depositors rush to withdraw their savings. Panic spreads city to city. Then something unprecedented happens. The New York Stock Exchange shuts down for 10 days because the system can't handle the fear. And in the shadows of this collapse, one of the darkest betrayals unfolds. The Freedmen's Savings Bank, a bank built for formerly enslaved Americans. Their life savings, entrusted, carefully built, secretly funneled into Cooke's collapsing empire. When it falls, they lose everything, not just money, but generations of hope. What follows is not a recession, it's a collapse of society. Unemployment surges, businesses fail by the thousands, railroads go bankrupt, factories shut down, and for years, there is no recovery. By 1877, the tension explodes. Workers strike, railroad lines shut down, cities burn, federal troops are deployed against American citizens. Over 100 people are killed. This becomes the first nationwide labor uprising in U.S. history. And while the country tears itself apart, something else quietly ends. Reconstruction, the promise of equality after the Civil War, abandoned because survival takes priority over justice. Jay Cooke loses everything, his empire, his reputation, his legacy. But the system he helped build survives and evolves. The Panic of 1873 becomes the blueprint, a crisis driven not by one failure, but by a system under pressure from every direction. Unlike later crashes, there is no bailout, no central bank, no safety net, only time and suffering. The Panic of 1873 reveals a pattern that repeats across history. When three forces collide, technology pushing too fast, policy tightening too hard, and global shocks hitting at the worst possible moment, collapse becomes inevitable. And when it happens, it's not the powerful who pay first. It's the workers, the families, the people who trusted the system. The numbers tell one story, but the truth is written in lost lives, broken futures, and forgotten promises. Because every financial crisis is never just about money. It's about who gets left behind and who never recovers. So now the question is, was the Panic of 1873 just history or a warning? Because look closely, a system driven by hype, money quietly tightening, global shocks hitting all at once. Does that sound familiar? Or are we walking the same path again, just with different names? Who do you think pays the price when systems like this collapse? Is it the powerful or the people who trusted the system the most? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your answer in the comments below. Let's turn this into a real conversation. And if you want more deep breakdowns of the forces shaping global power, make sure to like this video. It helps spread the message to others. Subscribe to World Power Files, because the real story is never what it seems on the surface. And once you start seeing the patterns, you'll never look at the world the same way again.